begin with introducing yourself, describing what you do.
My name is Andrea Mineo. I'm 29 and my job title is mainly artist, but I do other things as well.
Your job title is mainly artist, but you do other things as well. Are you an author?
I do all sorts. I do writing, films, music, design. I do also some invention.
Invention? What kind of invention?
What kind of invention? I make lamps. Suppose it's invention. The thing is, when you get into a taxi in Berlin, the taxi driver always asks you what you do, and if you say you're an artist, you get a lot of awkward questions, and your journey is difficult to withstand. So I usually say I'm a designer or a filmmaker.
If you wouldn't be an artist, you think you would be a designer or a filmmaker?
Well, actually, I was a designer. I completed my studies as a product designer. And probably I will have been maybe some spiritual film director like Jodorowsky in the Holy Mountain, where he pushes over the limits of his actor and shave his hair.
Okay, your artwork. If we could talk about this first. It's a lot like you're describing the rest of what you do. You've never adopted a single style. There's no work that you see that you can easily recognize, like, that's Andrea.
That's true.
Is it an intentional approach to make art?
It's intentional insofar as I hate art that's predictable, and I dislike practices that are repetitive. The whole point of being an artist for me is to be able to do new things every day. Wake up and invent a new way to writing a book, or wake up and making a film about energy. And the distance between those things is what makes life brilliant, I think. It's the only real occupation where you can do whatever you want when you wake up, which is such liberty. And it's intentional. It's intentional as far as there is a work ethic and conceptual rigor associated with pursuit of languages. And if you are really good in visual language, I think why you will make the same things every day.
And do you think there is something that does unite everything you do?
29 years being me, that's not unite. It's really about contribute into our history and contributing into visual language. I mean, for me, it's really about how articulate you can be in visual languages, the intonation, the way of speaking, the way of mastering that language. It's like a pursuit of an endeavor or something to master, like a quest for me to be as fluent as possible in it.
I'm interested in talking, which is a quick gear change, but I'm specifically talking about one of your invention, which is a long project that has lasted for years. I'm talking about the chocolate wall and the subsequent invention of a new form of energy. On 2014, you took around 300 kilograms of chocolate after the exhibition of Dieter Roth and Björn Roth that have been in Hangar Bicocca, a contemporary art museum in Milan. And then a sort of adventure began for you, because you hid the chocolate in the university campus where you lived. And then, after a few months, a strong smell, of course, came out from the room, and the campus director discovered your storage. At that point, you had to give the chocolate to some friends, send it to other cities, and at least transport it from place to place, and also carry it back for 6 years. Am I right?
Yes.
So tell us more about it.
Well, the chocolate wall is a part of a project of the creation of a new form of energy that is named third variable and has its own symbol. And anyone who follows the three phases of the develop process can generate a third variable, which are first creating an unusual situation. Second, deal in depth with the resulting obstacle. Third, sharing the effort with a group of people. Energy go where the attention is directed. So yeah, I was interested in inventing a process that allow to concentrate our attention and generate energy. And this process have to be replicable by everyone.
How come that you became interested in energy?
Well, the point is that if we look back, humanity has begun to consider energy as a factor of development only in the 18th century, with the discovery of thermodynamics, the relations between heat and energy that make machinery move. Only in the last 3 centuries we began to understand from what sources we can get energy from. And yeah, I was curious about how energy factor influenced all aspects of our life, even and specifically if we could talk about body-mind energy. And yeah, since energy is such as important things, I wondered why there are only few ways to get it. So what I did is invented one by myself.
But I suppose there are various types of energy, like heat, electricity, movement, light, and
there are various ways in which energy manifests itself in the world, but energy is only one.
How did you get the chocolate from the museum?
In 2014, I was studying in design in Milan when I went to see Diderot and Biorot exhibition in Hangar Bicocca in Milan. And the exhibition itself and also the amount of chocolate that had remained unused within these large white buckets. Yeah. And I discovered Novi company had given over 4,000 kilograms of chocolate, dark chocolate, for the construction of exhibition sculptures, but only a part of this chocolate was used. They told me that the unused chocolate will have been thrown away at the end of the show. So what I did is writing a letter to a director to the museum, honestly a little bit for fun, and pretending to be a pastry chef, wanting to make a chocolate sculpture for an international award. And then at a certain point I received an answer. So they told me that they agreed to give me the chocolate, but I had to take it all. They had to give away more than 300 kilograms of chocolate and bars. And I had to organize the transport within a week, rent a car, take some friends with me that will help me to move and storage all the chocolate. And at the time I was living on the university campus, and this makes everything more difficult.
Where does the idea for the action come from? Why did you do that?
Well, I wanted to do something similar to a game in which I write the rules by myself. It's a sort of a challenge where you face the limits and develop creative way to resolve problems. When the campus director discovered the chocolate inside a room, I risked to be sent away from the campus, but this event unlocked other events, which again unlocked other events that were fundamental for the process of the work itself.
What events do you speak about? Have you been inspired by something?
No, I wasn't inspired by anything, to be honest. When the campus manager discovered the huge amount of chocolate in their room, he got crazy. I was told to take all out in 1 week and free the room. Otherwise, I will be kicked out from university immediately, and I don't want it. So I packed the chocolate and sent it to a gallery for an exhibition. The first chocolate wall, the first chocolate wall was built after this event. And I built a wall 2 meter high and 4 meter long. And the rest of the chocolate I gave it in temporary storage to friends. Friends that has studio, so space and for storage of chocolate.
And what interests you of this material?
I was attracted to the material itself. You know, chocolate is an unstable material that smells sensual and impermanent at the same time. Since I was a child, I was drawn to collect large quantity of the same material or of the same color. I did it many times. Red carpet I took from a neglected hotel furniture, and even blue plastic bottle. I had collected more than 10,000, which I made a cave. That was crazy.
I was thinking of Armand Leplan, the installation of Iris Clare Gallery in 1957. So that's how the room should look like on the campus, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you interested in owning large quantities of materials?
I was attracted by the beauty of the material in its entirety. Seeing 10,000 blue plastic bottles forming a cave or covering a room with red carpet, making a wall with 300 kilograms of chocolate. I found it beautiful. I found it beautiful things, to be honest, yeah. And in a way, it was my way to play as a child. I was not the kind of guy that collected stamps at all.
And did you already have an idea of what you would have done when you started the project?
Of course I don't, but I had a direction. As I said, I gave myself certain rules and limits. For example, keep the 300 kilogram of chocolate for as long as possible. Observe what will happen in terms of energy process, and of course writing. Writing is one of the main process which I use to observe.
In many cases, I think that rules and limits have a close connection with creativity. And being an artist is the maximum expression of creativity in society, don't you think?
Well, you know, creativity sort of manifests itself in lots of different areas of the world, not just in art. And I think that is a common misconception that creative people are artists. Actually, if you want a real challenge, a real creative challenge, being an artist is a very, very easy one because you don't have any rules. You know, white cube, people come in, interpret it according to history of art. I mean, the hardest things for a creative mind is to be given a difficult problem with rules and restriction and constraints and compromises that have to be made. So, and get something good from that situation. that's for me a real challenge. So yeah, this project with the chocolate was like take your mind in the gym, and as I said, the primary focus of my work, as you can see, is developing mind, mastering visual languages, and pushing things forward. I mean, the great potential of the art is its ability to remain open and resist closure.